So the question is that if community policing is a service-wide approach to ensure community safety, then what's the difference between community policing and CSWB, community safety and well-being, right? So for community policing, we know that it was never meant to be just a policing approach, right? It was right from the get-go, 1829, from that time, Robert Peel's principles. It was a shared responsibility between police, social services, and municipality. And of course the community. That was the original vision, right? But here's what happened. We had the what, like what we want to do, like community safety, right? But we just didn't have the how, right? That how to actually do it, how to bring everyone together and achieve that sustainable integrated community safety. There was no blueprint, right? The shared mechanism, there was no shared mechanism, right? So without that, the whole thing defaulted back to the police, right? And policing drifted to enforcement, right? And again, fast forward to our age, with the introduction of the community safety and well-being approach, we clearly see that community policing and community safety and well-being is the same community safety approach, right? One with a structure and how-to aspect, and the other one without that. So here we have a list of both, right? So in the center, again, we have 8 dimensions, and based on the 8 dimensions, we are going to compare community policing on the left-hand side with the CSWB on the right-hand side, right? So first, all right. So let's look into the first one, right? So the first one is scope, right? So from the scope perspective, community policing is service-wide, right? That's within the police services. But CSWB is system-wide. It brings all the different sectors together to address community safety, right? So one is with the like community policing is about the what, but it doesn't have the how, whereas the community safety and well-being has a clear approach and has answer to that how. It's kind of the missing linchpin of the community policing, right? The second one is that the community policing, from the ownership perspective, community policing lacks blueprint, whereas the CSWB is very formalized and clear, right? The next one is lead. So from the lead perspective, community safety and well-being is jointly led, whereas the community policing, it falls on the shoulders of policing, right? So without a formal arrangement or mechanism and structure and approach like CSWB, community policing falls on the police shoulder every single time. From the plan perspective, where is plan? From the plan perspective, community policing is operational, whereas community safety and well-being is strategic. From the accountability perspective, community policing falls to the police by default, whereas the CSWB is distributed and is still evolving. So in community policing, accountability is supposed to be shared, right? But without a formal mechanism, police end up responsible by default. Whereas in the CSWB, it's still evolving, but the direction is clear. Then goes to the framework. So the framework is originally missing in the community policing, whereas in the CSWB, it's very clearly 3 pillars and 4 levels of intervention. The 4 levels of intervention, like social development, prevention, risk intervention, and incident response, and the 3 pillars like the police, the social service agencies, and municipality, and community. So those are the 3 pillars, and then these are the 4 levels of intervention. So it's very, very clear. And last, from the focus perspective, the community policing is focused on a delivery of safety, whereas the CSWB is focused on ensuring an ecosystem that promotes sustainable and integrated community safety, right? So here's the key point. Community policing and CSWB are not 2 different things, right? CSWB is what community policing was always trying to be, right? It just finally has the architecture to get there, right? And how is no longer missing. So that's the difference.